So we have the topic today of brain juice. Um, Now, the just to give you a little bit of my background, my kind of core practice is designed around neurology, around brain health, around the autonomic nervous system, around human performance and health. And at the end of the day, just trying to help people achieve what they're actually looking to achieve. Um, Now, in order to do that, we require our software of our brain and nervous system to work at peak capacity. There's an old saying, if you don't have your health, you have one wish. When you have your health, you have a million wishes. And so I really do think that it's imperative that we look at the brain and nervous system as the optimal vessel for health. It's the thing that pumps energy. It's the thing that kind of like allows our consciousness to express itself in the world so that you can go and not only perceive things and attract things into your life, but also go and do and produce. And so, this nervous system has some relevance to it. And we know people that where their health is declined or where their immune system doesn't function well or where their brain starts to kind of collapse in energy, dementias, Parkinson's, etc., like these pieces here, life doesn't get necessarily better. You lose faculties, you lose elements of your independence over time. So how could we kind of keep things ticking for as long as possible? We're all gonna kind of go on some way, shape, or form. But at the end of the day, are some of these neurological things that I see in my practice really that necessary? And when I start to see people and we're like reversing some of those processes, it just begs the question to me, are they really necessary experiences that we have? Is it merely just a matter of aging? Or is this something that we can be really proactive about? I'm sold at the moment that we can be proactive to like upregulate our brain and nervous system and create a great vitality and health. There's too many people in their 90s, even early hundreds, that have demonstrated that they've held on to their cognitive capacities. They've held on to certain things, and there's formulas for that. So that's what I want to hopefully kind of share with you today, brain juice. So the way that I kind of picture this in my mind is this thing called cortical mapping. And cortical mapping is basically how all these little neurons in our brain are firing in sequence, in synchronized patterns. So cortical mapping. So I want you to kind of think of a map, and I want you to think of your brain like a map per se. And we're going to cover three things over the course of this short time together. Three things that I see that can have our map within our brain be as clear and succinct, flowing, and energized as possible. So if you stay with me, we're going to cover the three big steps. But what I want you to think of first is like a map. And a map is really a set of information. And this information is organized in a certain way, in certain sequences. And that map essentially allows you to interact with your environment in more precise, informative ways. And so if we think of our brain as a map of our experiences, this brain is the interface between how we move into the world and how we receive its information. So this various map, now I want you to just think of like a road map or like a map of Canada or the US or wherever you're at, is like this map. You have this map. So let's use the map as an analogy to unpack how we optimize our brain. So think of, if the map is folded up in your back pocket, do you have access to the information or not? Yes or no? No. So what do you have to do? You have to unfold the map in order to even access the information. And this brings up point number one. Point number one is unfolding. Now, unfolding, how am I seeing that? I look at that as body-centered practices. The unfolding of the map allows access to information. When we have tense spine, rigid segments, distorted shoulders, postural imbalances, forward head carriage, compressed diaphragm, which many of us struggle from and suffer from. This to me is like a folding of the map. And we know in some neurological research that these called sensory motor patterns, which are postural patterns, distortion patterns, actually help to contribute to the overall map. There's an old saying I remember years ago, and it said basically, move, therefore I am. And the idea was is that in early development, the amount of movement and coordination from the child actually went to begin to shape their maps and models of the world through their brain. And so this folding up of ourselves in terms of our body needs to be addressed, because the more I see people unwind, literally unfolding their map, they start to think clearer. They start to think more aware. They have more awareness of themselves and the world around them. So I could literally see this unfolding from within. This essentially is on breathing patterns, postural patterns, and specific distortions in the spinal cord that alter the information that we have access to. So step number one is definitely using tools to unfold the body, to unfold the tension patterns. You could use things like massage therapy, but you can use things like breath work. You could use things like chiropractic. You could use things even like acupuncture, body-centered practices that allow you to go to the interior to allow this unfolding to take place. Hopefully that makes sense. Fold yourself up. You're now limited to the information around you. When someone's scrunched forward, they're literally compressing the information from the environment. They don't have access to the same amount. If you're up and open and aware and alive this way, you have the sights of the information, your access to completely rearranges. So the architecture of your body in part helps this cortical mapping of the brain. And it goes back to the saying of I move, therefore I am. The movement patterns, the way that you can breathe, the openness, the expansiveness in the body is a direct determinant as to what's firing and wiring in the brain itself. And it contributes, which you can go look at, cortical mapping. It contributes to the mapping of the brain. So that's step number one. Step number two is now imagine you kind of unfold this map and you want to read the information, except, there's old water stains, maybe a little coffee drip here and a stain here and some old writing here. And so what you could see when you kind of unfold this map are little stains of the past that are interfering with how you interact and see the map and work the information. And so in relay to this, what am I saying about that? I'm really talking about past wounds, injuries, could be physical. We're talking physical, P, emotional, and psychological. Past wounds, past stains in this nervous system, in this map, that interfere with the precision and the information that's available to you. So the idea of making sure that you have cleaned up old stains, old wounds, old imprints of the system that haven't been made sense of yet, haven't been ordered, haven't given meaning yet. When you look at even, I watched documentaries on people that had survived like the Holocaust and things of that nature, traumatic upbringings. They have this really interesting, they've been able to cortically map this reverence for it, this almost internal empathy, yet at the same time, this appreciation that they wouldn't be who they are unless this kind of sequence and nuances happen to them. And when you are able to truly identify past wounds as character builders, and you're able to articulate that they're character builders for who you are right now, by doing that, you're appreciating that and you're appreciating yourself in the moment. So it actually uplifts appreciation. That to me is like a windshield wiper or taking a cloth and being able to wipe that map clean so that it can be with more clarity and precision, literally neurologically or rewiring yourself. And I know I'm using just the map as an analogy, But believe me, all these things are being rewired in your brain. Again, another word you can look up is neuroplasticity. So, first step is to unfold the map so you actually have some access to the information. By doing that, you're unfolding the architecture of the body, the tensions and the rigidities in the body, opening up a new space to capacity to breathe. That's one step. Step two is once you got this map open and you're more available, well, what about these past stains of the past, little wounds, the traumas, the stressors that haven't been ordered and made sense of, the stuff that you wish wasn't there, you wish never happened, you wish could have been different. All those wishes store in the brain as brain noise, and they literally create like stains in there, congestion that doesn't allow for optimal flow of the brain and the brain's energy. So those pieces are extremely important to overcome and transcend so that we can take all that little bound energy and information from those events and literally recycle those through for brain power. So we need that to take place as well. Third step, okay, third step is, let's pretend hypothetically that you have this, you've unfolded this map, you've wiped away the stains of the map, but then you still have the information. Where people get caught up in is they don't actually pick a destination. They stay in the unlimited potentials of the future, which would be like the map, all these possible destinations.